Welcome everyone. In this video, we will check all the headers in detail which are supported by and which are not normal headers. These headers are supported in all the APIs of out of the box and also supported in code. Let's go to custom API. I have created one API for this demo purpose. Let's go to that. And in this code, we are just getting first order transaction and we are returning that. We'll send that and we are getting data. Now first header is XAM response case, which is useful to change the casing of the response. For example, when we select this camel case and when we send that, casing of the response will be changed to camel case. For example, when we select the capital case, the first character will be capital and underscore will be replaced with a space, and after that next will be also capital. Constant case like this. So you can play around with these cases. You can pass those header values in code also. For example, headers and we'll get that output. Now we are returning the object which is nested object, and when we press the send button we are getting same object in a return. The second header is XAM response object type. So if we want to make it flat, it will try to remove those nested fields and try to make it flat. So this was our previous one and this is the output we are getting. It removed those nested things and it combined them with underscore person underscore address underscore city. Now for array, it cannot remove those nested things, but inside the array objects it is able to do that. So subject and marks are the same, but for details it removed these nested things. So it is no matter how deft it is, it will try to make it flat. Now this header is very useful in case of you are accessing these APIs from some compiled language. So you don't have to create these classes in nested way and you just get the data. You can hold them in some kind of map or in a structure, so you can directly just pass the value and you can get the value like that. This XAM meta, this header is useful to get more insight of execution of the API. For example, this is our normal API response. When we pass it as a true and when we send it, we are getting this meta object which says this API took 78 milliseconds to execute on server. This section says this default user is able to execute this API because it has a group access on default, and this request is executed by the server on this process by this worker and sandbox running on this particular port. Now we'll see XAM secret header. If our code is performing some operation based on secret values, this header is very useful to select some different value by sending that secret ID inside the header. For example, when we send that, right now we are getting value as a Google, and this value is coming from our default secret. But now let's say if we want to use some another secret, we can select that value or we can pass that ID inside that header, secret ID, and when we get the value it will receive value from different secret from Yahoo. It is getting from here. So we can directly use a different secret objects via API call inside the header. We will see this header XAM internationalization in separate video of internationalization. XAM run in sandbox. this header is useful to run custom API code in few sandbox, so we can have our previously saved settings in our next request. So right now the value is a 0. That means code can run on any sandbox. Now let's check the code. We are getting the value of counter, and if value is not present it will be 0. We'll increment that and will return that value. And right now my total sandbox count is 4. That we can see in our settings. In sandbox settings, sandbox count is 4 and server is 1. So in one server I have 4 sandboxes. So my request will go to 4 sandbox one by one. So first time I am getting 1, next time also 1, third also 1, fourth is also 1, because sandbox is different every time. Now again send, I will get the 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, like that. So this header will prevent that, and it will try to run the code in only one sandbox, in any one of them, but always 1. We can make it 2, let's say, then it will run on any 2, but maximum it will run in 2, like that. Let's make it 1 and we'll send that. We'll continuously see the increment because our request is executed by only one sandbox. Let's say I have headless Chrome instance in my sandbox and saved in the shared object. The shared object can share data between the request, but for only one sandbox. To initialize that Chrome instance, it takes 2 minutes. So if I keep the value of this header to 0, it will take 2 minutes in first 4 requests, because I have one server and 4 sandboxes. So to initialize that, it will take 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 2 minutes in all 4 sandboxes. But if I keep the value it as a 1, then first time it will take 2 minutes, and after that instance is ready on my next request, and it will just convert my URL in PDF and return me immediately. So you can manage this value based on your business requirement, but the concept is that it will run code in maximum that many sandboxes. Even if you have 4 servers and each server is having 4 sandbox, so out of 16 code will run only in 2 sandbox if we provide the value as a 2. XAM content type response. This header is useful to get the return data in different format. For example, we are getting data in JSON. This is our code. We are just returning hello world and we are getting data in JSON. If we want for XML, we'll get the XML response. If we want YAML, we'll get the return in YAML. And this works for all the APIs, so you can get data in any format. Just change the header value. Now let's say I'm returning the base64 of the GIF image. This testing environment is not able to download the GIF image. There is a limitation here. So for that, if you just pass this header as an octet stream, it will know that it should download the file. So when you press the send button, it will download it. But no need to do this for normal browser requests. Let's say that is serving this GIF image which is 1 pixel. If I refresh that, we are getting that pixel in result, if you can see that. So depending on your return type, it will automatically convert into octet stream. In most of the cases, you will never need to set this header. When you use the download file feature, this will also be octet stream, so your browser can throw that file to user for download. You can see this header XM cache control in action in automatic caching video in full detail. XAM get encrypted data header is useful to get the response in encrypted form. We are returning this hello world, and when we send this, as a data and encryption, then it will return the data, but it will also return the encrypted string. Now if we pass it as a get only encryption, then it will only return encrypted data. It will not return the data. Now it will encrypt those data based on the value of these secret front-end transfer encryption algorithm. You can save these values in a front-end also, so your front-end can decrypt them, so your communication will be totally encrypted with your custom encryption. In API, we have this setting for on API level also, accept only encrypted data. If we make it as a true, then this API will accept only encrypted data in a payload from front-end or mobile applications, and this header can return the data only encrypted form. Our request and response both will be encrypted with our custom encryption. So other people cannot just press F12 and open the developer console and see our request payload and response in console. XAM sandbox timeout header is useful to increase the timeout period of code execution inside the sandbox. By default value is 13 seconds, so if our code is not completes its work in 13 seconds, it will destroy the sandbox. So we know that our code needs some more time to finish the job because of some IO bound or some third-party API involvement. We need more than 13 seconds, then we can specify that value here in milliseconds. If sandbox is not able to finish that job in those period, then it will return this type of error that API didn't respond in 13 seconds. Please improve our code. We might have written infinite loop by mistake, so this safety guard is very useful. Now let's increase the timeout, and it should return data in 15 seconds, and our timeout is 20 seconds. And we are getting that data. Because of this header, we are getting data in encrypted form. This header x-no compression will ask not to compress the response payload. In this testing environment, we cannot modify that because we don't have control over that in testing environment. But from Postman or from your front-end applications, it will just work.